Welcome everyone and all my students. I'm excited. I have some right off the press for you. Let's get started in a minute. But first, this is W.C. Ballard, your step-by-step CEO and your grant writing specialist. And just like I always promise, I'm going to give you some exciting grants today. And they're year-round and cycles from $250 all the way to $50,000. And there's one that's actually unlimited. So let's talk a little bit about it. So I'm going to give you some quick clarifications and definitions, and then we're going to go over each of the grants one by one. And by the way, click that like and subscribe button to continue supporting me for all the work that I'm sharing with you. So I ask you just to do that for me. So what are year-round grants? Well, year-round grant applications refer to grant funding opportunities that accepts applications year-round, throughout the year or any time during the year. They have no set deadlines. They're not what you call cycled, which I'll talk to you a little bit about that. And you can apply whenever you're ready, or they either reoccur quarterly, monthly, etc., or they have like what you call rolling reviews, that the applications may be reviewed as they are received rather than all at once after a specific deadline. And some of these also have cycles and deadlines. So I'm giving you a hodgepodge of different types of grants. So let's get started. So the Walmart grants. Walmart believes that investing in local communities strengthens their business as well as their community. What they have quoted on their website is local grants are designed to support local organizations that meet the unique needs of the community where they operate. So they build pride among their associates and deepen their relationships with their customers and the community. Now, they also are in collaboration with Sam's Club, as most of you probably already know, and they have distribution centers also that award local cash grants. And they vary anywhere from $250 to $5,000. Now, Walmart has some focus areas. And for those of you who don't understand that term, that means that these are the certain areas that they provide funding. These are the categories that they provide funding for. You all want to look for that every time you check a website or a grant application to see if it aligns with what you do, whether their focus areas is aligned with yours. So in this case, they have 4 focus areas: creating opportunities, that's a wide range; advancing sustainability, strengthening the community, and Center for Racial Equity. All of these are very broad, so if you think you fit in these, you just go for it if you think you fit in one of these categories. Now they're awarded through an open application process to eligible organizations serving the same service area that the facility they're requesting the funding from. So you go to different facilities. It's all set up on the website. You'll see it. Like if there's a facility a few blocks away from you, you might request it from that one. Or another one that may be a little further from you, but they're in your general operating area. And you have to go through what's called a Spark Good account. It's an account you have to set up in order to apply. A lot of organizations are starting to do that now, to where you have to set up a specific account. Then you put in your application. And they're accepted and reviewed on a quarterly basis. As you can see, I have the dates and times right up there. And they will accept a maximum of 25 applications. Pending or approved status is allowed per organization at any given time. That's because there's so many Walmarts out there, and the applications are funded to you by each individual Walmart. Now, the final decisions are made prior to their next quarter's application, so you find out real quickly whether you receive the grant. And once you're funded, reapplication to the same facility is not allowed within the same fiscal year. That's that little small caveat. Now, eligibility: organizations have to be a 501c3 public charity, which holds your exemption status with the IRS. Other qualifying organizations are government entities that are non-501c3 organizations like federal agencies and commonwealths, schools, churches, or other faith-based organizations with proposed projects that benefit the community at large, such as food pantries, soup kitchens, clothing closets, etc. And to find out more about the grants and where you can walk through them and process an application, you go to www.walmart.org, how we give / Next up is the Kubota Tractor Corporation, their annual Hometown Proud Grant Program. Through the program, 10 grants of $50,000 will be awarded in support of community-based projects and initiatives that will positively impact the community at large, and they're given across the country. The grants will include the $25,000 in cash and a voucher for $25,000, and they will be announcing the winning projects on September 1, 2025. So who is eligible? Any nonprofit with 501c3 status and a community project in need located within 50 miles of an authorized Kubota dealer. So how do you know whether you're within the dealership? Go on the website and they have a map of where all their dealerships are located, and they're like over 30 states that are eligible. So you most likely might qualify. And you submit an application, a short 2-minute video on your project, and you submit it prior to May 9th deadline in order to be considered. And the next one up is the Duke Energy Foundation. They offer a variety of grant opportunities aimed at strengthening and uplifting communities within its service areas. So the initiatives or focus areas, as I usually speak about, are education, workforce development, environmental stewardship, emergency preparedness, and urban revitalization. So what are the grant opportunities? What are the categories? The local impact grants are up to $20,000. Focus areas are vibrant economies, climate resiliency, and justice, equity, and inclusion. And these applications is accepted year-round on a rolling basis. Number 2, workforce development grants, typically between $10,000 and $15,000, eligible 501c3 organizations in Ohio and Kentucky. So these are geographically restricted. The focus, training for energy-related jobs, trades, and engineering education. Number 3, urban revitalization grants. The purpose, addressing urban blight, promote business creation, and spur redevelopment. This has a deadline of July 31st, 2025. Eligibility organizations are 501c3 organizations and governmental entities in Ohio and Kentucky community. So you see there's a hodgepodge. That's why it's important to read your eligibility to see if you qualify so you don't waste any time on a grant that you don't qualify for. Number 4, environmental impact grants. These are up to $25,000. Land conservation, clean water, biodiversity, and climate resiliency. The deadlines for these grants are June 3rd, 2025, and eligible organizations are 501c organizations just in North Carolina. All right, so what are the 3 funding guidelines that I pointed out here? Number 1, you have to either be a 501c3 or a government entity, and you have to be located in one of these 6 states: North and South Carolina, Florida, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Now, Wells Fargo grants. Let's talk about Wells Fargo because they offer a variety of grant opportunities that go into the millions. We actually applied for one that we qualified for, and it was just a small one, like for $3,500 for a specific project. And so their range is unlimited. So their corporate giving emphasizes 3 main areas: financial mobility, housing access and affordability, and small business growth. So, nonprofit organizations interested in applying for grants must first submit a grant interest form to be considered for an invitation to apply. Now, the grant interest form is similar to a letter of inquiry. If you've taken my classes, some of the students who are out here looking, they know exactly what to do. It's a letter of inquiry, basically, that says, hey, here's what we want to do. Here's our who, what, when, where, and how. And then Wells Fargo will say, okay, we're interested in that. And if you need to know more about that, you need to take some of my classes, guys. Of course, you have to be tax exempt. You must demonstrate fiscal and administrative stability. And they have to be services, of course, that address critical community needs. So you go to www.wellsfargo.com. Now, Wells Fargo supports nonprofits in all 50 states, so you don't have to worry about whether your state qualifies or not. So there's some criteria, but they're basically the same that you see: the 501c3, the public school, demonstrating stability, and so forth. Now, this is interesting because aside from what I just shared with you about the Wells Fargo grants, Wells Fargo also has a private foundation. And what that means is that they manage numerous private foundations and charitable trusts, each with specific focus areas and geographic priorities. Some examples include the John W. Porter Trust, that supports organizations in Long Beach, California, focusing on arts, education, environment, etc. The Provident Benevolent Foundation, it provides grants to organizations in Central and Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, emphasizing education. Then there's the Gratis Foundation that awards grants in education, healthcare, humanitarian services, U.S. military personnel and their families, etc., etc. And they have rolling deadlines. So if you want to explore, I just gave you a few of them. If you want to explore these and other foundations, including their specific program areas and application guidelines, visit the Wells Fargo Private Foundations page. Guys, this is very important because they have a slew of them and they represent different focus areas, different geographical areas, and you might just find a jewel in searching on Wells Fargo. So guys, before I give you my final smart tips on the last slide that's coming up, I want to say, if you are a beginner, if you're really interested in being a grant writer and applying for some of these grants, come on over to a couple of my classes, especially the first one that talks about how to become grant ready. Even look at some of my other videos that talk about being grant ready, how to write a need statement, and I also have other videos about other available grants too that you might want to look at. But you have to get yourself ready, get yourself prepared so that you can apply for some of these grants. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars out there for your nonprofit. You need to get some of that money. And lastly, a few smart tips. As I said, there are thousands of grant opportunities. When researching, don't waste too much time on just one unless you qualify. And we talked about that. And you've seen them in some of the ones that I just described to you, where there are certain qualifications that you have to look for. Are you eligible? Check your eligibility first. If you are eligible, keep a log or a spreadsheet of all the grants you qualify for, even if the deadline has passed, because the deadline is going to come back again. That's called a cycle grant. If the deadline, let's say, is May 30th and you missed it, look for it coming up again to come around for May 30th again, and that way jump on it back in April and be ready for the next one that comes up. Always check your deadlines. Find grants that align with your program or your mission, and don't give up. Keep researching. There's a wealth of funding out there. Guys, Thank you for listening. I hope that some of this has really been valuable to you. I want you to click that subscribe and like button for me so I can give you some more information, or pass this on to a fellow friend or a fellow grant writer or someone else that you might think is interested in what I have. And guys, that's all I have to share with you for today. You can look for me at my next one, but if you subscribe, it'll pop right up for you. This is W.C. Ballard checking out.